Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the team that takes stacks of source material, cuts through the noise, and gives you the actionable intelligence inside.
That's right.
Today, we're going way back. We're setting the stage in a place that was, well, arguably the peak of wealth in the ancient world.
Babylon, ancient Babylon.
Yeah.
And our sources really paint it as this cradle, where the absolute basic ideas about finance, the ones we still use, were first really understood and put into practice.
So our mission for you, the listener, is essentially an archaeological dig for financial wisdom. We want to pull out these timeless lessons from, well, these old stories and see how they apply right now, today, to your own prosperity.
Exactly. We're talking fundamentals here. Forget the complex spreadsheets and jargon for a minute. This is about acquiring wealth, keeping it, and making it grow. The laws underneath it all.
Absolutely. And interestingly, the story kicks off not with the super rich, but with two regular guys, masters of their craft, but financially kind of lost. We meet Dabasir, he's a chariot maker, very skilled, and his friend Kabi, a musician. They're living in what's described as the richest city in all the world, this gilded metropolis.
Yeah, imagine that, surrounded by wealth.
But after working their whole lives, hard labor, their own purses are empty, they're just sitting there complaining.
And Dabasir has this moment, this realization. It's almost painfully simple, isn't it? They've just been working, earning, spending, rinse and repeat.
Content with the cycle.
Content with the cycle, yeah. Leaving them only able to dream about wealth. They could earn, sure, but they had zero results to show for it. It's the classic problem, really. They want the silver and gold, more than just enough to scrape by.
More than just food and robes, as they put it.
Right. But they just don't know how. They don't know the path.
So naturally, they decide they need to talk to the guy who does know, Arkad. He's literally the richest man in all Babylon. They figure, okay, maybe he knows a secret, or maybe he just got incredibly lucky.
And Archad just shuts that down immediately. This idea of fickle fate controlling everything. No. He's blunt. He says, look, if you haven't got wealth, it's because you haven't learned the rules, or you haven't followed them. Simple as that.
Which brings us to how Arkad even defines wealth. It's not just about coins, is it?
No, that's key. He sees wealth as power. The power to make things possible. Like ornamenting your home beautifully, sailing off to distant seas, eating amazing food, feasting on delicacies, even building temples for the gods. It enables life.
It's potential energy, really.
Exactly. And he decided young he wasn't going to settle for being poor. He knew it would take time and, crucially, study. It wasn't going to be a get-rich-quick thing. It demanded discipline.
Yeah, and he makes that point, doesn't he? That time and study are two things everyone has plenty of, but most people just, well, let them slip away. Unused potential.
Okay, so Arkad wasn't born rich. How did he start? He was just a scribe, right? Working long hours in the Hall of Records, carving these detailed texts onto clay tablets.
Grueling work, probably.
You bet. And he earned money, he got paid, but poof, it just vanished. Food, clothes, rent, maybe some offerings, other little things he couldn't even remember. It all just absorbed his earnings.
Sounds familiar. Like so many people stuck in that paycheck-to-paycheck grind today. Zero savings rate. Nothing left over.
Right. Then comes the turning point. This bargain he strikes with Algamish, who's this really respected, wealthy moneylender. Algamish needs a big carding job done, like overnight. Arkad says, okay, I'll do it, but you have to teach me how to get rich. Give me your wisdom.
A fair trade. Wisdom for labor.
Arkad pulls the all-nighter, gets the tablets done. Then he goes to Algamish, like, okay, pay up, tell me the secret.
And Algamish delivers. He gives him the absolute foundation, the single most important idea we're going to talk about today. What was it?
He says, I found the road to wealth when I decided that a part of all I earn was mine to keep. And so will you. Simple. Powerful.
And Arkad's first reaction is perfect because it's what most people think, but
Right.
Isn't all I earn mine to keep? He thinks he already owns it?
But that's the trap, isn't it? That's the mental block.
The intellectual financial slavery, as you called it earlier.
Exactly. Algamish just dissects it brilliantly. He points out, Arkad, you pay everyone else. You pay the guy who makes your clothes, the people who sell you food, the sandal maker, the landlord.
Everyone gets a piece before you do.
Right. You work hard, you labor for others, but when that money comes in, none of it sticks around to build your future. Algamish basically tells him, if you take your earnings and immediately hand them over, you're effectively a slave working for their benefit, not your own.
Wow, that's harsh framing, but it hits home. It's not just about saving, it's about priority. Ownership. Who comes first?
Precisely. So Algamish gives him the prescription. Keep at least 1/10, 10%. Doesn't matter how little you earn, keep 1/10 of it. And crucially, Pay yourself first.
First, before the sandal maker, before the landlord.
Before everyone. Treat that payment to yourself as the most essential expense you have. If necessary, figure out how to manage the rest on what's left.
Okay, but let's get real here, because this is where people push back. If you're already struggling, finding that extra 10% feels impossible. How did Arkad actually do it? Did his expenses magically shrink?
Well, Archad admits it felt weird at first, but he treated it as unbreakable law, non-negotiable. He just made it work. He learned to adjust his spending around the 9/10 that were left.
So he didn't suddenly have more money, he just got smarter with the money he did have after taking his cut.
Exactly. If you mentally fence off that 10% right at the start, it's amazing how you often find ways to make the necessities fit into the remaining 90%. You prioritize differently.
You cut the fluff.
You cut the fluff, yeah. And Algamish uses that beautiful analogy, doesn't he? That first copper coin you save, that's the seed for your tree of wealth.
And you have to water it.
You have to water it with consistent savings.
Yeah.
If you keep digging up that seed, spending the principal, or even spending all the interest it earns right away,
You're killing the sapling.
you're killing the sapling. The tree never gets a chance to grow.
And there's that fascinating psychological twist Arkad noticed. He said once he started doing this, paying himself first, he didn't really feel deprived. And strangely, coins seemed to come to him more easily. He called it a law of the gods.
Yeah, I doubt it was actual gods intervening, but
Probably not.
probably not. But I think it speaks to focus, maybe confidence. When you start respecting your own labor enough to pay yourself first, maybe you start seeing opportunities you missed before. You carry yourself differently. Okay, that psychological shift, that idea of paying yourself first, it leads straight into what Arkad taught as the 7 cures for a lean purse. Let's dig into the first 4, because these are really immediate, practical steps anyone can take.
Right, moving from scarcity towards having something. So, cure 1, starting the purse to fattening. This is basically just applying that 10% rule, but like religiously.
Yeah, ruthlessly applying it. For every 10 coins that go into your purse, you only take out 9 for spending, period.
It sounds almost childishly simple. 10 in, 9 out.
It does. But think about the discipline involved. What it forces you to confront. It means saying no to instant gratification. Arkad really puts it to you. What do you desire more? Quick pleasures? You know, a fancy new jewel, some finer clothes, things that are gone in a flash?
Things you consume.
Right. Or do you want substantial things? Gold, land, investments, things that last, things that can grow. The coins you spend get you the first kind. The coins you keep get you the second.
So this first cure is really about making a conscious choice between consumption now and building lasting value for the future. That 10% you save, it's like casting a vote for your future self every single time you get paid.
Well put. Okay, so you've secured that first 10th. Now what? Cure 2. Controlling expenditures. The budget.
Ah, the dreaded B word.
Yeah. But Arkad's take is interesting. The budget's purpose isn't just to make your life miserable and restricted. It's to make sure your necessary expenses and also your worthwhile desires get fulfilled.
But without spending more than the 9/10 you have left?
Precisely. And his method, described as engraving everything on a clay tablet. Well, that's basically zero-based budgeting, ancient style.
Write it all down, every single thing you want to spend money on.
Everything. Then you go through the list, you pick out what's absolutely necessary, food, shelter, etc. Then you look at the desires, what's possible within that 9/10 limit. Pick those.
And the rest?
Cross them out. Just gone. You have to accept them as desires that right now have to go unsatisfied.
Ouch. That acceptance part is tough for a lot of people today, isn't it? We're kind of conditioned to want it all now.
Credit cards help with that delusion.
They do. But Arkad says that budget is your first assistant in defending thy fattening purse. Why? Because the main desire you're actually fulfilling by sticking to it is watching that treasure grow. That becomes the primary satisfaction.
That's a powerful reframe. It's not about deprivation. It's about prioritizing the bigger goal. And for anyone listening now, think about all those little leaks. Subscription services you barely use, impulse buys online, that daily coffee that adds up.
Forcing yourself to write them down, whether it's on clay or, a modern budgeting app, makes you conscious of them. You realize how many you can just let go of intentionally without really hurting your quality of life.
Okay, so we're saving, we're controlling spending. Now for the exciting part, growth. Cure 3, making the gold multiply.
Arkad hammers this point. Gold just sitting there in your purse. Yeah, it feels nice. It's gratifying.
Comforting.
Comforting, exactly. But it's idle. It's earning nothing. The savings are just the seed, remember. It's the earnings from those savings that actually build the fortune.
This is the shift, isn't it? From just being a saver to becoming an investor. Arkad talks about his first good investment.
Right, loaning money to Agar, the shield maker. Agar needed bronze to make more shields. Arkad had some savings. Simple loan. But the key insight here, the magic, is compounding.
He didn't just collect the interest, the rental, as he calls it.
No. He loaned the interest back to Agar, along with the original principal. So now Agar's paying interest on a bigger amount. Both the capital and the earnings start to increase faster and faster. He uses that vivid image. Golden slaves. You want an army of them. Each coin you save is a worker, and the earnings they generate become new workers.
And their earnings become more workers. It creates this golden stream constantly flowing into your purse, working for you even when you're asleep or on vacation.
The power of compounding. Einstein supposedly called it the eighth wonder of the world. And that farmer example really drives it home.
It does. A farmer invests just 10 pieces of silver for his son. The interest, the rental, gets added back to the principal every few years, 50 years later.
50 years sounds like a long time.
It is, but look at the result. That original 10 pieces grew to 167 pieces.
Wow, almost 17 times the initial amount, just by letting the earnings work alongside the original money.
And for listeners today, this translates directly, doesn't it? Early investment in solid things like maybe low-cost index funds, retirement accounts. Time is your biggest ally with compounding. Start young, even with small amounts, and those dollars become golden slaves, multiplying for decades.
But that multiplying engine is useless if the whole thing crashes and burns. Which brings us neatly to Cure 4, guarding treasures from loss. If compounding is the accelerator,
then guarding your principal is the steering wheel and the brakes. Absolutely critical.
Archad really emphasizes this. The first principle of sound investing is security for thy principal. Don't get greedy. Don't be seduced by fantasies of getting rich quick.
Because the penalty for taking foolish risks is, well, probable loss. It's timeless advice, and it's still the biggest trap people fall into, chasing unsustainable returns.
And he learned this the hard way, didn't he? He shares that really embarrassing story about his first big loss.
Oh, yeah. Painful. He'd saved for a whole year that first precious 10%. Then he entrusted all to Asmur. Now, Asmur is a brickmaker.
Not exactly a commodities trader.
Not even close. Asmur is going on a trip and says he'll buy jewels and tire from the Phoenicians. Great deal, apparently. Asmur, the brickmaker, gets totally duped by these Phoenician scoundrels, as Arkad calls them. Comes back with a bag of worthless bits of glass.
And Arkad's entire savings, gone, just vaporized, because he trusted the wrong person with the wrong task.
Exactly. The lesson he learned the hard way was seek advice only from people who are experts in that specific thing. You want advice on stars? Ask an astrologer. Sheep. Ask a herdsman. Jewels. Ask a jewel merchant.
Not the brickmaker.
Not the brickmaker. If you take advice on your life savings from someone who doesn't know what they're doing, maybe it's a friend pushing some hot stock tip they heard, or a relative excited about some brand new, untested crypto thing.
You're basically paying them to prove their own ignorance with your money.
That's it. You pay dearly for the proof of their false opinions.
It's critical. This isn't about avoiding all risk. It's about knowing the difference between calculated risk in an area you understand or where you have expert guidance.
And just blind gambling. Right. Blind recklessness.
Well,
you absolutely have to understand the dangers before you commit your treasure. Or, even better, entrust it only to professionals whose job it is to manage wealth responsibly and protect that principle. So we've got the mechanics: save, budget, invest wisely, protect your capital. But Arkad knew that wasn't enough. There's a mindset piece too, starting with what he calls willpower.
Yeah, and he kind of demystifies it, doesn't he? It's not about some Herculean strength or gritting your teeth.
Not at all. He defines it much more simply. It's the unflinching purpose to carry a task you set for yourself to fulfillment. It's about consistency. Finish what you start.
Like follow through.
Follow through, exactly.
Right.
Not necessarily intensity, but reliability. He uses that great little example, the pebble task.
Right, throwing one pebble over the bridge.
Yeah, if he decided he's going to throw one pebble over the bridge every single day for 100 days, he would just do it.
Yeah.
One pebble a day.
And crucially, if he missed a day.
He wouldn't try to catch up by throwing two the next day. He wouldn't just give up and say, oh, this is pointless. He'd just go back, do the missed day's task, and focus only on getting today's pebble thrown, one day at a time.
And why does that tiny, seemingly trivial consistency matter so much?
Because it builds trust in yourself. It's behavioral. If you can consistently follow through on small, self-imposed promises like, I will save 10% this month, or I will track my spending today, You build confidence.
You build momentum.
Momentum, yeah. Confidence that you can handle the bigger, harder, more complex tasks that building real wealth requires. You can't achieve big goals if you can't even trust yourself to do the small things you commit to. You build that self-trust, pebble by pebble, day by day.
That clarity of purpose, that ability to follow through, seems directly linked to his ideas about luck, too.
Absolutely. He and his students get into this debate.
Mm.
How do you attract good luck? Is it just random chance? Gambling?
And the crowd's reaction when asked about gambling is telling, isn't it? Groans and laughter. They knew deep down it wasn't a reliable path.
No. Arkad's wisdom here is that good luck is basically just opportunity. And opportunity favors the prepared mind, but also the person who acts.
Procrastination is the enemy.
Procrastination is the absolute worst enemy of opportunity. They tell those two brilliant stories about missed chances due to hesitation.
Yeah, the first one about the merchant. He had a good investment opportunity right in front of him. Solid.
Looked really good. But he paused. Why? Because he and his wife really wanted some fancy new robes. Consumption desire won out over investment opportunity.
So he delayed the investment decision, waited until after they bought the robes.
And by then, opportunity gone. Poof. And then, to rub salt in the wound, he finds out later the enterprise was hugely profitable, more than he even imagined.
Ouch. And that Syrian guy in the audience just nails him, calls him a procrastinator, someone who constantly puts off doing things that could actually benefit them.
Sharp assessment. And think about the hidden cost of that hesitation. It's not just the profit you missed, it's the regret. That feeling can paralyze you next time an opportunity comes along.
Which makes the second story even more urgent. The animal buyer.
Dramatic stuff. He gets offered a huge flock of sheep just outside the city gates, late in the evening. Really good price, like 2/3 market value, a steal.
But he's stubborn. He has his ways. He refuses to pay until the morning, wants to do it properly by daylight.
Bad move. Overnight, things change. Rumors of a siege start swirling. Suddenly, everyone in the city is desperate for food supplies. Buyers rush out at dawn.
And the farmer
Sells the entire flock for almost 3 times the price the first buyer was offered just hours before.
Wow. The procrastinating buyer lost the deal, lost huge potential profit, all because he wouldn't act decisively when the opportunity was right there.
The lesson couldn't be clearer. If the deal is sound, if you've done your homework, you need to guard against your own tendency to delay. Opportunity rarely waits for your convenience.
So, men of action are favored by the goddess of good luck. You have to be ready to step up quickly, decisively, when a vetted chance appears. Hesitation is self-sabotage.
Okay, we've focused a lot on building wealth from, well, maybe not zero, but from a position of being able to save. But what if you're already deep in the hole? Drowning in debt.
Right. It's easy to say save 10% when your purse isn't already being emptied by creditors banging on the door.
Exactly. For that situation, the story of Dabasir, the camel trader, is incredibly powerful. It's a story of hitting rock bottom and climbing back out.
He starts out as a saddle maker, right? Making decent money, like Archad initially.
Yeah, good earner. But unlike Arkad, who learned discipline, Dabasir just wanted stuff, fine things, immediate gratification. He started indulging his whims, buying luxuries he couldn't really afford.
On credit!
On credit, spending way more than he earned. And pretty soon, he hits that wall. He realizes his earnings aren't enough to both live on and pay back what he owes.
The debt spiral.
The classic debt spiral. Life becomes miserable. Creditors are hounding him. He feels trapped. So what does he do?
He runs.
He flees Babylon, abandons his responsibilities, falls in with a band of robbers out in the deserts, spends whatever loot they get just as foolishly.
Doesn't sound like a path to recovery.
Not at all. And inevitably, it ends badly. After some skirmish, he gets captured and sold, ends up as a literal slave in Syria. His outer reality now matches his inner financial state, enslaved by poor choices.
Wow. From skilled craftsman to desert robber to actual slave, that's quite a fall.
It is. But then comes another turning point. His owner, or rather, his owner's wife, Sira, she confronts him.
She doesn't just pity him.
No, she challenges him. Asks him, basically, do you have the soul of a slave? Because look where your weakness, your inability to face things has brought you.
Oof, tough love.
Very tough. She tells him straight. A man can't respect himself if he runs away from his honest debts. She calls his debts his enemies, the very things that chased him out of Babylon. He let them defeat him.
That must have stung, but maybe it was the wake-up call he needed.
Absolutely. It jolted his self-respect. So when Sira later gives him a chance to escape, he doesn't just run again. He goes back. Back to Babylon. Determined to face the music, face his enemies.
That takes guts. Returning to face everyone he owed money to.
Huge guts. He goes to every single creditor, explains what happened, why he fled. But crucially, he doesn't just apologize. He shows up with a plan. A concrete, structured repayment plan based directly on Arkad's teachings.
Okay, so what was the plan? This is key for anyone listening who feels overwhelmed by debt.
It's brilliant in its structure because it addresses living, debt repayment, and future saving simultaneously. It breaks down his income into 3 parts.
All right, let's hear them.
First, 7/10, 7%. This was for living, home, clothes, food. And importantly, he included some room for enjoyment here too. He realized he had to live cheerfully on this portion or the plan wouldn't stick long term, but that 70% was a hard ceiling never exceeded.
Okay, 70% for life. What about the debts?
Next, 2/10, 20%. This slice was set aside specifically to pay back his creditors.
All of them, or did he pick and choose?
All of them, systematically. He agreed to pay them pro rata.
Pro rata. Okay, explain that. Why is that important?
Pro rata means proportionally. So if you owed one guy 100 silver pieces and another guy 50 silver pieces, from that 20% pot, the first guy would get double the payment amount compared to the second guy each time.
Ah, I see. So it's fair based on the size of the debt, not just paying off the smallest one first to feel good, or the loudest one to shut them up.
Exactly. It demonstrates integrity. It shows respect to all the people he wronged. And the creditors actually agreed to this plan. Why? Because they saw Dabasir wasn't the same desperate guy who ran away. They saw his determination, his self-respect returning. They realized this slow, steady, structured plan was probably their only real chance of getting their money back in full. They'd get it slowly, but they'd get it from an honorable man.
Okay, so 70% for living, 20% for debt. That leaves 10%. What about that?
That's the genius part. 1/10, 10%. This was paid to himself first, just like Arkad taught. Even while heavily in debt, he started setting aside that 10% to build his own future treasure.
Wow. So even in the depths of debt repayment, he was still planting the seed for his own wealth.
He had to. That 10% was fuel for his self-respect. Proof that he wasn't just working for his past mistakes, but also for his future freedom.
And did it work? Did he stick to it?
Like clockwork. The story says he followed this plan rigorously, and the result, absolutely transformative. Slowly, steadily, he paid back every single debt, every last piece.
Must have felt amazing.
Imagine. And at the same time, because of that 10% he kept, he started hearing the jingle of gold and silver in his own purse again. He fully regained his self-respect, went from being a fugitive slave back to being an honorable, respected, and eventually successful camel trader in Babylon.
It's an incredible comeback story. And the lesson is clear. Determination plus a solid structure can absolutely liberate you from financial slavery, no matter how deep you think you are.
All right, so we've covered getting started, managing money, getting out of debt. Now we move into, let's call it the advanced course. The wisdom Archad passed down to his son, Nomasir.
And this wasn't just theoretical teaching, right? Arkad tested him.
Oh yeah, big time. He gives Nomasir a bag of gold, a significant amount, and a clay tablet. On the tablet are carved the 5 laws of gold. Then he basically says, okay, son, go out into the world, prove you can handle this, come back in 10 years and tell me what you've done.
Talk about pressure. How did Nomasir do initially?
Well, initially. Terrible. He lost the gold. All of it.
Oh, no.
Pretty much broke all the rules his father warned him about. He admits it when he returns. Got fooled by some Phoenician schemers offering impossible returns. Sound familiar?
Like son's initial mistake.
Exactly. Lost a big chunk betting on a horse race that was probably fixed. Then he went into partnership with some guy who was apparently great at spending money, but not so great at earning it. The gold just fled indeed from my inexperienced hands, as he put it. Classic rookie mistakes.
So he comes back empty-handed.
But not quite. He lost the gold, yes. But he kept the tablet. He held on to the wisdom.
The 5 laws.
The 5 laws. He spent the next years applying them. And when he finally returns to Arkad 10 years later, he doesn't just have the original bag of gold replaced. He has 2 more bags besides.
Wow. So he tripled the initial stake despite losing it all first.
Which led him to his big conclusion. That wisdom on the tablet, way more valuable than the actual gold Arkad gave him. Without the wisdom, gold vanishes. With the wisdom, you can acquire it even if you start with nothing.
Okay, so we need to know these 5 laws. They sound like the distilled essence of Arkad's entire philosophy.
They really are. Let's run through them. Law number 1, acquire. Gold comes readily and in increasing quantity to the man who saves not less than 1/10 of his earnings.
Back to basics, the foundation. Pay yourself first, 10% minimum, no savings, no start.
Simple, non-negotiable. Law number 2, security and growth. Gold labors diligently and profitably for the wise owner who finds for it profitable employment, multiplying like the flocks of the field.
Make your money work. Compounding. Don't let it sit idle. Find sensible ways for it to grow.
Right. Law number 3. Seek advice. Gold clings to the protection of the cautious owner who invests his treasures under the advice of men skilled in the ways of gold.
The anti-brickmaker law again. Get expert advice from people who actually know the specific field you're investing in, like fiduciaries or qualified advisors today, not just random tips.
Crucial. Law number 4. Avoid unknown risk. Gold flees the man who invests it in enterprises where he is not familiar with the business or is inexperienced in its handling.
Stick to what you understand or what your trusted advisor understands. Don't jump into complex or unfamiliar businesses hoping for a quick win. That's just gambling.
Precisely. And finally, law number 5. Avoid schemers. Gold flees the man who demands impossible earnings, follows the alluring advice of tricksters and schemers, or trusts it to his own inexperience.
If it sounds too good to be true, it almost certainly is. Get-rich-quick schemes, promises of outrageous returns. They prey on greed and ignorance. Run away.
Run far away. These 5 laws are like the operating manual for wealth. Dabasir eventually succeeded because he stopped chasing shortcuts and started associating with careful, skilled people who evaluated plans properly and refused to risk losing the principal.
That idea of careful evaluation and avoiding unnecessary risk brings us to another perspective in the book, Methon, the gold lender.
Yes, a fantastic section. We meet Rodan, who's a successful spear maker. He's been diligently saving 1 gold piece a year for 50 years.
50 years. That's dedication.
Incredible discipline. Then suddenly, boom, the king gives him a gift of 50 pieces of gold, a massive windfall equal to his entire life savings.
Instant wealth, but also instant problems.
Exactly. Suddenly, everyone wants a piece. Relatives, friends, including a sister. She wants him to lend the entire 50 pieces to her husband, Araman.
Let me guess. Araman is not an experienced merchant.
Bingo. He wants to try being a merchant, using Rodan's entire life savings as his startup capital. Rodan, wisely, feels uneasy. This sudden wealth brings responsibility and a huge fear of losing it all. So he goes to Methon, the experienced gold lender, for advice.
Smart move. What does Methon say?
Methon warns him immediately. Good intentions can lead you into trouble. He tells Rodan the fable of the ox and the ass.
Oh, I remember this one. The ox complains about working hard.
And the lazy ass advises him to pretend to be sick the next day to get some rest. The ox does it.
And the farmer makes the ass pull the plow instead.
Exactly. The ass took on the ox's burden because of foolish advice. Methon's lesson for Rodan. You have to judge very carefully if lending your gold will actually serve the useful purpose and likely return, or if it's just going to be wasted enabling someone's bad idea and leaving them, and potentially you, worse off.
It's a stark warning against emotional lending, especially with life-changing sums of money. Don't take on someone else's burden just because you feel obligated or sentimental.
Right. You might actually harm them more by letting them dig a deeper hole with your money. Methon then explains his criteria for safe loans, using tokens from his chest as examples. He says safe lending is based on only 2 things.
What are they?
1. Security. Is their property worth more than the loan backing it up? Land, jewels, something tangible that can be sold to recover the principal if things go wrong. Collateral.
Okay, collateral. Makes sense. What's the second?
2. Assured earning capacity. Is the borrower someone who reliably earns money through their labor or service and has a proven ability to repay from those earnings?
So collateral or proven ability to pay back from income, if neither of those is present.
The loan is probably unwise, high risk. Applying this to Rodan's situation with his brother-in-law, Araman, Methon is brutally direct.
He tells him not to do it.
He points out the reality. Rodan scraped together those 50 gold pieces through 50 years of hard work and self-denial. Giving it all to an inexperienced relative to experiment with being a merchant, that's pure folly. If Araman fails, he's crushed by debt and Rodan loses everything he worked his entire life for.
So just say no, even to family.
Milan offers a compromise, a way to help, but responsibly. He says, if Araman comes up with a sensible, well-thought-out business plan, something that looks genuinely viable, then lend him just 1 gold piece.
1 out of 50.
1, the equivalent of 1 year of Rodan's savings. Why? It minimizes Rodan's risk dramatically. But more importantly, it tests Araman. Can he actually succeed with a small amount? Can he prove his capability? If he makes that 1 piece work, then maybe consider lending more later. Prove yourself first.
That's incredibly wise. Manageable risk, testing the borrower's competence. It protects both parties in the long run.
Exactly. And Methon's final advice echoes the 5 laws. Be conservative in what you expect to earn. Chasing crazy high interest rates, usurious returns, is just asking for trouble. Seek success by partnering with proven, established people and businesses, not flashy newcomers promising the moon.
It all comes back to security, doesn't it? And when you think about Babylon itself, those massive walls, they lasted for centuries because they were built strong, they were protected.
Great analogy. That desire for security, for protecting what you've built, is the same impulse behind modern things like insurance, having emergency savings, choosing dependable, stable investments over volatile gambles. You need walls around your wealth, too. Hashtag tech outro. So when you boil it all down, what we've seen from ancient Babylon is that the path to real, lasting wealth isn't really about complex secrets. It's about incredibly simple, consistent habits.
Yeah, these principles feel just as relevant today as they must have thousands of years ago. They're foundational.
Absolutely. So if we were to summarize that essential path, drawing from Arkad, Dabasir, Nomasir, Methon, what are the key takeaways for someone listening right now?
Okay, let's try. First, start the purse to fattening. Pay yourself that 10% first. Always. Non-negotiable. Make it automatic.
Foundational. Second.
Control thy expenditures. Budget the other 90%. Know where it's going. Be honest about necessary versus desired, and accept that some desires have to wait.
Discipline. Third.
Make thy gold multiply. Get that saved money working immediately. Understand and harness the power of compounding. Put those golden slaves to work.
Growth engine. Fourth.
Guard thy treasures from loss. Security of principle is paramount. Don't chase ridiculous returns. Get advice, but only from true experts in that specific field. Understand the risks.
Protect the core. And fifth.
Be a man or woman of action. Crush procrastination. When a solid, vetted opportunity appears, act decisively. Don't let hesitation rob you.
Seize the moment. That really captures it. And remember, no Messier's realization. Gold disappears quickly if you don't have the wisdom. But if you do have the wisdom, you can acquire wealth even if you start with nothing. You, listening now, you have this wisdom.
Which leads to the big question, doesn't it? Arkad said wealth is power, the power to make things possible. Now that you have the knowledge how to get wealth, keep it, make it grow. What are you going to do with it? What will your own account of stewardship, as the book calls it, look like in, say, 10 years?
Yeah. And wrote that quote about how real wealth is built. Wealth that stayeth to give enjoyment and satisfaction to its owner comes gradually, because it is a child born of knowledge and persistent purpose. It's not instant, it's built.
So the final thought for you is about that persistent purpose. What's the one small, defined task, your pebble over the bridge, that you can set for yourself today to start building that unflinching consistency? What action will you take?